popped out and signed the shirt for her.
Sweet.
That's a class act.
That's sweet.
5 laps when they come back to the competition yellow. Steve?
And Mike, Larry Mack was talking about that competition yellow. Steve Letarte, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, told me this morning, you're going to see tire strategies all over the place. He said it just depends on where you want on the track. They might change rights or just lefts or maybe even no tires. Really depends where you want to go back out on the racetrack.
I really believe this first stop, you're going to see most of them go with 2 right side tires only. You got to be there at least long enough to dump 1 can of fuel. 2 tires is pretty much free on the stopwatch. But you look at Joey Logano in the 20 car. We talk about him being 19 years old. He'll turn 20 next month. You look at his runs here last year, top 10 finishes in both races in 2009 here.
You know, Bobby Hillin won this race, and he was 22 years old. That's the youngest winner we've had here. Logano could shatter that record.
From 3 wide to 2 by 2. Logano and his teammate Kyle Busch come by leading in the bottom lane. Joe Gibbs Racing with 3 victories here. And here comes Earnhardt, and he has been the Pied Piper of Talladega, and he's leading that outside line up toward the front.
Yeah, the Pied Piper's getting a little group assembled on the high side.
The problem that the Pied Piper has is everybody wants to be the Pied Piper. Whoa, boy, look. Saw Hamlin in the 11 dancing around a little bit there.
Next Saturday night, NASCAR on Fox goes short track racing for our final time this season. Richmond, Virginia.
It seemed like when we were there a year ago, those 2 cars we're looking at, the 18 car of Kyle Busch and the 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., I think they had a little altercation late in the race at Richmond.
Logano has led 4 laps. That's the most of anybody. Will he notch his 5th right here? He will, by a car length and a half.
With that slow car down on the inside there, that always creates havoc as you try to work your way around there, because you're going to run up on the back of that slow car. Something's got to give.
That's Robert Richardson, who ran the Daytona 500, finished 18th. This is only his 2nd start this season. He's in that 37 on the bottom.
Worked out all right. They got through there okay.
Now, Darrell, this is teammates that have linked up and are running tight with one another. And that's pretty much forced everybody to get in line, mind their P's and Q's for a bit.
It has, and you'd love to be able to work with your teammate, because you can talk to, see, these guys, these teams that got radios, they can talk to each other. So you'd love to be able to work with your teammate if his car's as good or equal to yours.
Busch brothers battling side by side for 2nd.
But the thing I see, those 3 Joe Gibbs cars, they've got nose to tail up there. 1, 2, 3. You're looking at them right there. Logano, Kyle Busch, and Denny Hamlin on the bottom side with Brian Vickers following suit.
So that's 4 Toyotas at the front. And keep an eye on that 31 today. After practice Friday, many people thought that Jeff Burton might be one of the best drafting partners out there. He did an awful lot of pushing and being pushed to run some fast laps here on Friday in that cat car.
Well, I think people feel good running with Jeff Burton. They know he's going to do what it takes to get up to the front, but they know he's not going to make a stupid move on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's a real good decision maker when it comes to staying out of trouble, not getting you in trouble. Just saw Jeff Gordon have his hand out the window. I'm not sure if he was
to the car behind, which is Elliott Sadler.
I don't know if he was saying don't bump me right now. Maybe he's a little uncomfortable. Something though, had that hand waving.
All right, look at Jeff Burton in the 31 car versus Joey Logano in the 20. Right there, 7 miles an hour faster. Again, getting that push from Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88.
Smell of oil as the cars went past the start-finish line, and they believe it's Casey Kane who has slowed up a bit. Remember, he's head-to-head against Bobby Labonte this week in our DirecTV competition.
And just remember, our pit reporters in the pre-race talked about it.
Different ignition system and stuff just to make sure. How's your oil temperature and your oil pressure and all?
All of the Ford teams running that new Ford FR9 engine here this weekend.
And one of the things that they've been concerned about durability-wise was the valve train.
Jeff Burton just led that lap. That is his first today, or his 2nd lap today. And he was pushed by Robbie Gordon, who celebrates a milestone, his 350th Cup start. Driver number 7, Robbie Gordon from Orange, California. 20 laps complete. This is when we expect the competition caution, and here it is. So the teams will get ready to come pit side to check tire wear, add Sunoco race gas, and make adjustments. 20 laps complete. Welcome back. Most everyone has pitted. Dick Berggren.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. took just 2 tires. Mike, a nice pit stop by the crew. Earnhardt concerned about his brakes. Steve.
4 tires for Brian Vickers in the 83, Dick. He says the car is good, but the racing is crazy. Matt?
And the 2 of Kurt Busch, just 2 right side tires. Needed a little bit of a wedge adjustment. Wanted to try to get the back of the car a little more in the racetrack to help with the bump drafting.
And I think that's pretty much what we expected. Most of these guys just going with 2 right side tires.
Earnhardt concerned about his brakes. He used a lot of brake here, dragging it, trying to keep in line behind the guy in front of him.
Put up on Casey Kane. 10 drivers chose not to pit. Robbie Gordon is still our leader. Mark Martin, Travis Kvapil, Greg Biffle, Max Pappas, and others. Under the caution, Robbie Gordon led 10 cars around and did not pit. Gordon got the 5 points for leading a lap. That's all important in the car owner points to determine the qualifying exemption for next week. All those cars have now pitted, and Kurt Busch leads his teammate Sam Hornish, Joey Logano, and Elliott Sadler down to the green flag.
Of those cars right there, the first car in line to take 4 tires would have been Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car. Everyone else in front of him, 2 right sides only.
I would have taken 4 right there, just like Chad did, because now it sets me up to take 2 later if I want to.
Especially if we go through a full green flag run.
And we very well could. Of course, we very well could not, too.
Here comes Logano back hunting the lead, and all through practice Friday it seemed Dale Earnhardt Jr. was locked onto Logano's bumper as if they were teammates. I guess for the moment they are.
I think Junior looked at Logano and said, you know, he's got quick hands. I think I'll hang with him. He moves around pretty good.
Kurt Busch will not give up the lead. Now it's Busch and Logano coming back to the stripe. A couple of cars reporting problems over that first 20 lap run. First to Dick Berggren.
Casey Kane was one of those, Mike. The engine sounded sorrow as he came by here. The crew worked on the engine. They found a bad spark plug, closed the hood, and sent him back out. He should be okay. Steve.
Dick, Matt Kenseth spent some extra time on pit road. The team said he had a problem with a vent tube. Now, before the caution, Matt Kenseth, we've talked about how important spotters are. His spotter is Mike Kalanoff. They're having a little bit of a problem getting their timing down. Let's listen.
Don't get offended and don't raise your voice at me. You just need to take a deep breath and pay a little more attention here. You're really late on your calls. You called me 2 wide, now it's 3 wide. You called me 3 wide, now it's clear. The guy was to my right front fender before he told me he was outside. I don't know what you got to do, but you got to get regrouped here. I got to know what's going on in traffic a lot more than I am here. Copy that. Just a tough angle there coming off before, but we're good. Just really need you to be in the seat here with me, buddy. I just need your help today, so do the best you can. 210, Todd.
Well, they are 4 wide right now coming out of turn 2. This is really tight.
And you depend on your spotter. I mean, more than anywhere we go, he's got to be in the car with you. He's got to be your eyes all around.
Larry, I know Mike Kalanoff spotted for your son Brandon the other day.
I tell you what, Mike is the best in the business, and you heard him tell Matt, which I agree, when they're coming at him off of turn 4 like they are right there, this is what the spotter's seeing. This is the view, and it's hard to tell when that car's maybe got his fender, your quarter panel, or vice versa.
And Larry, you're right. He's the best in the business, and he and his driver are struggling a little bit.
Brian Vickers leads this lap with an assist from another Toyota. That driven by Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin 3rd, Dale Jr. 4th, and Jimmy Johnson 5th. They are your Toyota top performers of the race right now, with Logano in 8th, 27 laps in.
And the frustrating thing about racing here is you see Vickers down there on the bottom. They get that big lead, and all of a sudden, you watch, they'll get shuffled back into the pack with this group on the outside.
Here comes Johnson with Kurt Busch. Looks at the back bumper of Kyle Busch, looks further inside, thinks a little better of it, sweeps up high in that trioval.
But I'm going to tell you the 2 cars we better watch. Those 2 cars on that outside. Denny Hamlin in the 11, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88. They hooked up rear bumper to front bumper.
Boy, the closing rate is so fast on these cars when they're catching a car in front of them. Somebody's going to run over somebody before it gets over with here.